Hi, it's Caroline. I'm back again for another little video. Those of you that follow me on my Temple Spa page will also know, or some of you may know, that I'm a yoga teacher as well. I teach children, teenagers and adults, and usually from this studio. You can see I'm in my studio. It's set up as a bit of a film studio at the moment because I'm doing all my teaching online. The website's theyogacrow.com. It's the same on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube as well. But what I wanted to do today was to share with you a very simple practice to relieve any tension in the neck and maybe even the hips as well. We're doing a lot more sitting now we're stuck inside. And I thought it would be a nice way to share a very short practice to alleviate stress, strain, tension and tightness. So wherever you're sitting, I'm going to encourage you to sit in a chair rather than a soft sofa. I'm sitting at the edge of my chair and my feet are on the ground, yeah? So my toes are pointing forwards, my feet are parallel. I'm going to roll my shoulders back and down. And we're imagining we've got this very long spine, okay? And the neck is an extension of that spine. So it's a really long, tall, beautifully open chest. And this open chest is encouraging space in the body for the breath. And to begin with, I'll invite you to close your eyes and we're just going to breathe. So simply breathing. In yoga, we breathe in and out through our nose. And if that's not possible today, don't worry too much about it. And we're just encouraging a gentle, calm, slow breath. It may help to bring your hands to your belly. And breathing into the belly. So we're imagining the torso, our body, is like a glass and we're trying to fill that glass with water. So obviously we're trying to fill the body with the breath. So we're starting with the belly, moving into the lungs and into the upper chest. And to begin with, this might feel a little bit hard. We've got a tendency as we get older not to use our diaphragm properly, and that's a muscle under the rib cage here that aids our breathing. We don't need to go into too much detail about that today, but we want to breathe into the belly, breathe into the lungs and breathe into the chest. In yoga, it's a 3-part breathing technique. So we're filling the body with the breath. And we'll take 3 breaths where we breathe in and blow through our mouth. So it's almost like we're blowing through a straw. So we'll be breathing in and blowing through an imaginary straw. Do that 2 more times, breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Gently opening your eyes, coming back into the space. So hopefully that breathing out maybe meant the breath out, the exhalation was a little bit longer than your inhalation. It's a very simple technique. It's worth practicing. That helps calm the nervous system down. We've got something called the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is our sort of flight or fright. So if we're scared, worried, anxious, that will change our heart rate. It will change our breath. It often moves up into the upper chest. When we're feeling calm, that's the parasympathetic nervous system. We're breathing slowly and calmly. And that extended exhalation, that longer exhalation, is what triggers the parasympathetic nervous system. So that helps us calm ourselves down and gently ground ourselves. I wanted to get into a little bit of movement today. So we're going to roll the shoulders up, back and down. And what we're trying to do, it feels almost like we're taking the shoulder blades together. And as we come back round, we are taking the shoulder blades apart. So very small, so very slow shoulder rolls. So taking the time to really stretch the tops of the shoulders, and this is getting into the trapezius muscles as well. So this is a really good one into the pectorals to relieve tension in the shoulders and the upper back. And then going in the other direction. So doing 5 in both directions. Notice if there's a little bit of a difference between both sides. There always is. We don't have symmetrical bodies, and all of our bodies and skeletons are very, very different. So one side's always going to feel a bit tighter because one side will be more dominant. And slowly coming up to sitting. We'll take our hands on our shoulders, do a few circles with our elbows, taking them as far forward as you can and as far backwards as you can. Again, we're going to do 5 in one direction and 5 in the other direction. I've lost count now, so I'm going to come back to centre and just rest my hands on my thighs. We're going to get into the neck area now, and those of you who know me from my yoga side, I'm quite particular about safety with anatomy and physiology. So the neck is designed to move in 3 different directions, and we'll move the neck in those different directions right now. We're going to tuck our chin into our chest, and you might feel a little bit of a stretch at the back of the neck. Encourage the shoulders to soften away from the ears. Gently bring the chin back up, and we're going to take the head, the neck back a little bit, but we're just looking to the ceiling, so not all the way back. And coming back to centre. We'll take the left ear to the left shoulder. So I'm mirroring you here. And avoid using any hands, don't force this stretch. Remembering that slow breath we started with. As the stretch eases off, you can maybe take the ear a little bit closer to the shoulder, but being really gentle here. And then coming back up to centre. And taking the right ear to the right shoulder and taking it all the way down. And again, you may notice a difference between both sides. Coming back up to centre and just being gentle. Remember, we're still sitting up very tall here. The next movement of the neck is just looking over the shoulder. So I'm going to take my gaze over my left shoulder, and maybe I can take it just behind my left shoulder. My feet are still firmly on the ground, my toes are pointing forwards, but it's just the neck that's moving. I should say the head as well. Coming slowly through centre, and then taking the gaze to the right. So this is a twist. It's a gentle twist through the neck. It's creating a little bit of space between the vertebrae as well. And then coming back to centre. And the neck's not designed to do big rolls. So I always avoid teaching that. But what we can do is make some circles with our chin. So we're imagining we're drawing a tennis ball with our chin. So it's quite a small movement and quite a slow movement. So 5 in one direction and then 5 in the other. Remembering to breathe. Often when we start concentrating, we stop breathing. And there we go. We are going to do some lumbar back or lumbar spine stretches now. The lumbar spine is the lower part of the back, and this can often give us a lot of trouble if we've been sitting quite a lot. So it's something called cat-cow, and often it's known as angry cat, happy cat actually, and you do it on the floor, but we're going to do this seated because it's an easier one to do at a desk if you've been working at home quite a lot. We're going to curl round the shoulders and sort of hunch the back up and just bend over a little bit here, so we're not coming too far. And then we're going to come back up and take the shoulders back and push the belly forwards. And try not to drop the head back too far. We're gazing up to the ceiling, but we're being really mindful and safe with the neck. So we're going to breathe out to curl forwards. We're going to try and work with the breath here. And we're going to breathe in to look up to the ceiling. Breathing out to curl forwards. And breathing in to look up to the ceiling. We'll do this 3 more times. Just work with your breath. Don't worry too much about the breath. Just ensure you are breathing. And when you've done your 3, coming back up to sitting nice and tall. Lovely. We're going to do 2 more movements that should feel really lovely for the back and the hips. We're going to take our left hand and we're going to pop it on our right knee. And we're sitting in a chair, so we can take our right hand somewhere on the chair. So maybe it's the side of the chair, maybe it's the top of the chair. Keeping their feet grounded and parallel, and we're looking over our right shoulder. So it's very similar to the stretch we did with the neck, but now we're working all the way into the spine. And we tend to bend forwards and backwards and laterally sideways, but we don't tend to twist the spine in our sort of everyday lives. So this creates a little bit of space between the vertebrae. A twist is massaging the internal organs as well. So we're working here into the digestive system, livers, kidney, maybe even up to the heart, pancreas. Really, really good stretch to do. Come back to center, and then we have to do it all on the other side. So we're taking the right hand to the left knee, taking hold of the chair wherever you can, depending on the chair you have, and looking over the left shoulder. Just check your knees aren't collapsing. So we're trying to keep the knees over the ankles. Shoulders are soft, away from the ears. And then coming back to center. We'll give our knees a little bit of a hug now. So I'm still, again, in that same seated position, and I'm bringing in my left knee and giving it a hug. Encourage the shoulders down, we're still sitting tall. And this, you may find this gets into the hip flexors. So in the top of around the sort of hip and the pelvis area, we've got a muscle called the psoas muscle, which is often the one that gives us lots of problems with back pain. So it'll be getting into that as well. You might also want to here make some ankle movements. My ankles are clicking today. Point and flex the toes. And gently coming back down. And then we're going to hug in the left knee as well. Sorry, I should say the right because I'm mirroring you. Notice again the difference between the 2 sides. Making some circles. You can see I have no control over this foot. Pointing and flexing. Really hugging that knee in. And then gently coming back down. And again, we're going to do 1 movement to work with the hips here. Now, if you've got knee problems, just be really careful here. You might not want to do this. I'm going to take my left knee over my right thigh. Now this is going to come straight away. You're going to get into the glutes and into the hips. But again, as I said, if you have knee issues or you've had knee replacements, I wouldn't advise doing this. And just here, you can just sit here. You'll feel it. I can feel it already. You might want a little bit more. If you do want a further stretch, just make sure you don't push on the knee. The knees are really, it's a joint and we've just got to be very careful with it. So I'm just going to gently push into the inner thigh here to get a stronger stretch. Again, if your shoulders are up here, drop them down. Encourage that drop down there. And gently let go, and we'll do the other side. So place the foot down, toes are pointing forwards, and we'll bring the right leg over the ankles, just light on the quads here. And very gently, if you want a bit more, pushing in to the inner thigh or the calf muscle. And gently letting go. Finishing off with couple more breaths. We're going to reach up, breathing up and breathing down, folding forwards. Try and keep your glutes, your bum, on the seat. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. And if you're doing this at the desk, you can just come to the desk, fold the arms, rest the head. Take a few breaths here. And then very slowly coming back up to sitting. So that's a short chair sequence. I do quite a lot of chair yoga actually in my classes. They're very good props to lean on and steady balance, but also just actually doing some seated movement and some seated yoga can really help us at the moment. Any questions, just ping me a message, you know where I am. And I hope that helps some of you that are working from home and just needing to release a little bit of tension and tightness over the shoulders and around the hips.